Hey, I'm Pastor Akers. Thanks for joining me again for another brief video. In our last video, we talked about the clerical collar specifically and why some pastors choose to wear a clerical and others may not. Today, we're going to dig into this wardrobe here where our albs and vestments are stored here at the Lutheran Church of the Resurrection. And I'm going to talk to you about that and why pastors may choose to wear those. So stay with me, and I'm going to put some of this on to show it to you. All right, so what I am wearing right now is called an alb. Most pastors, whether they're Lutheran or not, who choose to wear a robe of some sort during worship will wear this alb. It's just a white robe. Some of them have fringe on it. Some are solid white. Doesn't make a huge difference either way. Some pastors will choose to wear what's called a surplice and cassock, which is more of a black robe that then has a white covering over the top. And again, I want to reiterate, like I talked about in the last video, that not all pastors, not all Lutheran pastors wear an alb, and that's okay. There's no requirement in Scripture from God that pastors must wear this. But again, it can be a helpful way for someone to look across the room and say, that's the pastor, that's the one standing in place of Christ, speaking his word, delivering his sacraments. And that's why I choose to wear an alb, and that's why here at the Lutheran Church of the Resurrection, that has been our standard practice. Why an alb, though? Why not something different? Well, oftentimes people will describe the alb, the white, representing the white of the robe of righteousness that Christ gives to us in our baptism, that again covers up that black clerical, the black that represents our sin, and the robe of Christ's righteousness covers that up. And again, that can be a helpful way to think about the alb. But historically, it just like the clerical, it sort of developed out of the traditional dress of the day in the Roman Empire, was a white robe similar to this with a rope. Cincture is the technical name, but a rope belt of sorts to kind of keep it from poofing out like a bathrobe or something that makes it kind of hard to move. So it's a tradition that the Lutheran Church has kept. Not all Lutherans do. Some Lutheran pastors wear something different, and that's not a problem. But again, I think it's a helpful way to identify the pastor as the one standing in the place of Christ. Now, an alb isn't the only thing that you'll see a pastor wearing. If you see a seminary student or a vicar, a lot of times this is about all they'll wear. They won't wear a stole. They might wear a cross. But there are two pieces that I want to talk about next. First is a cross of sorts. This one happens to be a crucifix that has Jesus on it. Lutherans are not scared of crucifixes, as some people might be. Jesus died on the cross. Is it offensive? Maybe so. We're all sinners, but Christ had to die for us so that we might be restored in our relationship with God. And so we are proud of that. That's the central part of our faith. So many pastors will wear a crucifix or a plain cross. Some may choose to not wear a cross at all. Again, personal preference of the pastor. But let me get this stole on here. This is the last piece of what a pastor will oftentimes wear. And this is what you will not see a seminarian or a vicar wearing, because this is a marker of being an ordained pastor. So why a stole? Well, historically, the color of the stole brought color into an otherwise drab cathedral. But the church has kept that tradition to help mark the seasons of the church year. We're in the green season right now. And so we can do another video that describes the different colors and the church year and how all that flow works. But for now, you can understand that a stole simply serves to mark as an ordained pastor from a worship assistant, from a vicar, from a seminarian. And again, there's no requirement that a pastor must wear all of these things. Some pastors will even add what's called a chasuble on top of this. It's all personal preference on the part of the pastor and what he's trying to communicate to his congregation. But again, the point within the Lutheran Church, the reason I wear what I do here is because it serves as a reminder that as the pastor, I stand in the place of Christ, speaking his word, administering his sacraments to his people. And that's how God promises to work, as he has instituted the office of the pastor to give assurance of that to his people. So I hope this was helpful. I hope that it answered a few of your questions. And if you have any additional questions about this or anything else, leave them in the comments below and I will answer those on a future video. Thanks for joining me, and God bless.